Okay, everyone. So welcome back to lecture once again of Power BI, and we are going to discuss about basically a star schema. We are going to talk about a snowflake schema design. So it's basically a terminology that you all are going to encounter, and we are going to talk about a fact table. We are going to talk about a dimension table. So these concepts are pretty much easy, but yes, as a Power BI developer, you are supposed to be aware about it. So let me share my screen and let's open up a Power BI desktop and let's start talking about this. So here, first of all, I'm going to talk about basically a star schema, right? A star schema. So what is the meaning of a star schema? So as its name suggests, a star schemas, maybe like I'm just giving a guess over here, right? So a star schema maybe something will look like this one. Yeah. So where we have one central things and maybe from this central things, maybe there are multiple things which could be connected, right? And this is something called as star schema. So yeah, inside a Power BI, so you can try to create a data model, by the way. So where there will be one central table. So for example, there is a sales table, right? There is a sales table, which is a central table for me. And then this table will be connected to a surrounding table. So maybe a customer table, maybe a product table, maybe a date table over here, or maybe a shipment table, right? So there is a sales table, which is a central table, and all of these other table will be connected to this central table, right? Will be like a join to this central table. Now this kind of a schema or this kind of a pattern, so where there will be one central table and from that central table there will be a multiple table which will be connected, is called as star schema, or I can say it's a star pattern, a star schema, right? So basically it's called as a star schema, or in a other word I can say that this is a star pattern that we are talking about. And here, so the central table that you are able to see, it's technically called as a fact table. Yeah, the central table that you are able to see, it's technically called as basically a fact table. And all of these table that you are able to see, it's called as dimension table. So dimension dimension table. So we have 4 dimension table and we have one fact table, as simple as that in terms of a definition. Now how we are going to create it? So let me show you that example as well. So here I'm going to click on get data, and maybe I can try to click on text and CSV. And here, so we have a data I have prepared for all of you. So let me import a data. So here we have a sales table, product table, customer table, a store table. So all of these table we have. So maybe I can try to like a load all of these table. It's a very simple one, a small table that we have, right? So maybe I can try to like click on this load. So I will end up loading this sales table, a small one. Then again click on get data, and this time so maybe a product table I'm going to load. So just load it, and then maybe I can try to load another table. So where we have a customer table, so I can try to load a customer table over here. Now so I can try to basically load a store table. So let's try to load a store table, and then there is a final table called as dates table. So in total I have done a loading of, as you can see, so I have technically loaded 5 tables. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a sales table, and then we have a customer table, we have a date table, we have a product table, and we have a store table. So all of these table I am able to load. Now, so let me keep this sales table in a center, right? So let me keep this sales table in a center, and maybe I can try to do some sort of a like a arrangement, something like this, right? So something like this, I'm going to arrange it. So here, right? So here you will be able to see that my sales table is in center, right? My sales table is in center, and all the other table except a date table for now, right? So except a date table for now is not connected. So maybe I can try to connect even this one. So there is a possibility I can try to connect it. Yeah. So now even this one is connected. So as you can see that here, so we have a sales table in a middle, and then I have just attached all the other table with this sales table. So with like a sum of the columns. So for example, like a product table is been attached to a sales table with the help of product key. Now, if I'll talk about a date table, so there is a date key attachment that we have done. Now, with respect to a customer, there is a customer key attachment that we have. And if I'm talking about a store, so we have a store key attachment over here. So this kind of a schema is technically called as what? A star schema, by the way. So hope all of you are able to understand that what is the meaning of a star schema over here and what is the meaning of a fact table. So this sales table is technically a fact table for me. And then this customer table, stores, dates and product is technically a dimension table for me. As simple as that. Now there is something called as snowflake schema. So again, there is a term called as snowflake schema that you will be able to like find out sometime, right? Now, what is the meaning of this snowflake schema? So basically, snowflake schema is nothing but, so when we are going to break down this dimension table, so for example, we have 4-dimension table. If I'm going to divide this table further, right? If I'm going to divide this table further, so in that case, it will be called as a dimension. It will be basically called as a snowflake schema. So where we will be having dimension of dimension, or you can say we'll be having a sub dimension. So again, it's a term, right? It's a term. So where you try to break down the table further. For example, so just to give you an example. So for example, we have a customer table. It's one of the dimension table, right? One of the dimension table that we have now. So we have a column called as city, customer key and a customer name over here, right? City, customer and the customer, city, customer key and customer name. Let's suppose if I'm going to break down this entire table further, and I'm going to create another table. So one table is a customer table. And let's suppose I'm going to create another table called as cities table, right? So cities table. And in this table, if I'm going to keep maybe cities, this one, city, and then maybe there is an entity called as city name, right? City name, city key, city ID, let's suppose, right? So city ID, city name, city key. So if I'm going to break it down further, means if I'm trying to denormalize, or I can try to like break down this dimension into a sub dimension. So then it's called as basically a snowflake kind of a schema. Again, but your operations are going to be complex in that situation. You will have to perform a more join operation in that situation. So it's always better to stick towards a star schema as compared to a snowflake schema. But even snowflake schema will be like important sometime, where you are going to normalize or you can try to split the dimension into a small dimension, maybe for a better understanding purposes, or maybe for a better maintenance and aggregation. You can do that. But yeah, so there is like a snowflake and there is something called as star schema. So either of that you can try to use it. In case of Power BI, so mostly I will be using this star schema. I'll be following this particular star schema format, and in this format, I'm going to connect the entire table, entire data set, and then we are going to perform the dashboarding operation. So with that, thank you so much everyone. Take care and see you again in my next chapter.